The Bible begins with, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." But in the beginning of what? Many presume the author means the beginning of time, that all-encompassing thing in which we live. What astrophysicists began, or believe began, at the start of our universe with the Big Bang. We begin our current time here on Earth, not with the Big Bang, but with our birth. We live our whole lives in time, and we do a lot with it. Everything that ever is, ever was, and ever will be exists in time. But how aware are we of time? When swimming, we're aware of the water that surrounds us. When going to sleep, we're aware of the sheets, the mattress, the blankets. Here, right now, we're aware to one degree or another of our clothing, the pew we're sitting in. But are we aware of the time that surrounds us? We often ask, what time is it? Either to someone else or to ourselves. Watches and phones are checked constantly to let us know what time it is, where we are. Somehow it feels anchoring to us to know the time on the clock. 11:15, according to that one. But does knowing that actually help our awareness of this marvelous gift? After all, the answer to what time is it is not as straightforward as we might think. Thinking about it just from the time on the clock, or the time of day perspective, the United States spans 6 time zones. 9, if you include the inhabited territories, and even more if you include the uninhabited ones. And I mention this because even ignoring the territories, from a clock perspective, there are 6 different answers to what time is it in our country alone. And there are 38 of these across the globe. 38 different nows for right now. That's a lot. So it seems that our notion of being able to track time with clocks is a bit illusory, and it doesn't really do justice to what time is. Our awareness of clock time is different from our awareness of the larger temporal ocean in which we all swim. Perhaps due to clock time being a localized phenomenon. It's great for not missing appointments, or commitments, or events. But clock time is relatively useless when it comes to experiencing the present moment. If we allow our consciousness to focus on labeling time, we risk missing the time that we are in now. To say that time is confusing is somewhat of an understatement. Even Albert Einstein, unquestionably one of the most brilliant minds of the 20th century, had difficulty understanding time. His theory of relativity and how space and time are linked continues to boggle many a mind. If time is relative and is affected by our perception of it, as Einstein and quantum theory projects, then we owe it to ourselves to make as much use of time as we can. To alter our perception of time so we can make the most of our time here. In order to be able to alter our perception of something, we must first be aware of it. To reuse the swimming analogy, we alter the water surrounding us when we swim in it. So too, we can and do alter the time that we swim through. Time, this thing that engulfs our whole existence on this planet, can be our most valuable tool for building connections. It is by being aware of time as a tool that we can make the most of our time here. And I use the phrase, make the most of our time, to mean really living and enjoying our lives. That is the type of success that really matters. To achieve that, our thinking of time needs updating. Time is not something relative that continues on around us as we experience life. Time is a tool that we've been given to help us build a life. If we think about time as something that we can be aware of instead of a location marker, it becomes this tangible thing that we can use to build connections with people, places, and things in this world. We build connections by using time to be with someone or something. Martin Luther King Jr., in his letter from Birmingham jail, said, "Time itself is neutral. It can be used either destructively or constructively." And he was absolutely right. He also saw time as a tool that we can and should use constructively. Let us take the time to use time for making a difference in our lives and in the lives of those around us. We can easily be distracted from the now by thinking about what is to come next, so much so that we forget to be where we are. We miss part of what and or who is in front of us because we're thinking about what's ahead or what happened before. This is part of our perception of time, our distraction by thoughts about what's next. So what can we do about it? How can we prevent our thoughts from wandering towards the future or from ruminating about the past? Well, the answer, fortunately, is very simple. We can't. No matter how much we want to keep our minds with us, it will constantly wander. What we can do is take note of when our mind wanders off like that. Take note and gently bring it back. Thinking about the holidays already. Yeah, we can discuss that later. Come here now. Stay with me here. Let's stay focused for a minute. This is a practice that yoga and meditation have in common. It's often referred to as mindfulness or being centered. And it does take practice. The mind is a powerful tool. However, the mind and the conscious are not the same thing, which is why the mind has a tendency to wander. The consciousness can notice that the mind is wandering, and that's when we can bring it back to the now. Because it is when both the mind and the consciousness are attending to the same thing that we can fully experience it. Fully experience the person we are with. Fully be where we are. Will our own mind wander off while we're with someone or while we're doing something? Yes, it will. But thankfully, our consciousness can notice that and bring it back. We must be present in the moment with the piece of time that we are giving to those we are with. Our lives today are so busy, it's not surprising our consciousness wanders. There seems to be a constant flow of things to do, people to see, places to go. Our culture is currently structured such that we feel the demands of home, work, family, and society taking all of our time and attention. I think perhaps we often relish in these enticing distractions to our consciousness. The technological age in which we live seems to be built to keep us distracted from where we are. What can we do to help us stay in the here and now? I think for starters, we can be aware that we are sharing time with others. Not just our time, we're sharing their time. Just as we share the water in which we swim, so we share the time in which we live. It connects us, not only to the present, but to those that are in the present with us. Let us use time to appreciate who we are with and fully be with them, even if you are only by yourself. It is time to use time to fill our lives with joyful interactions. It's time to be aware of what we're doing and who we are with. Time to be in the here and the now. Time is our ever-present tool, and with it we construct a full and contented life. Let's make good use of our time by being present in the here and the now.